So with the fallout of FTX, the just complete collapse of that exchange, if you want to call it an exchange, more of a bank if you really are want to being objective, are the people, the YouTubers, the finance personalities, are they liable at all for the promotion of this exchange or this service, right? That is a growing question. And I never promoted FTX, right? And for those of you who don't know, this channel I'm uploading on right now, this is my smaller channel. I had a much larger channel before, but we're not even going to get into that, right? And I never promoted FTX, okay? No, I actually never really promoted, I don't think any exchange really, other than like a referral code here and there for Coinbase. But I never promoted FTX because I saw through what was going on behind the scenes, right? And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean I knew when it was going to collapse or what, the issue was. I knew there was something fishy going on with what interest they were offering. I was pretty certain they were doing some type of expansion beyond what the reserves allowed for. But my issue and why I never promoted FTX was more of a moral issue, in that I didn't support what Sam Bankman-Fried was doing, because I've been in crypto a very long time. I've been in crypto before it was popular, before all these hype train YouTubers got on board, right? I was in crypto back in really 2010-ish, right? And that's when I first started looking into things. And so when I talk about crypto, I'm talking about it from a philosophical perspective, right? Now, one telltale signs, you just as a metric that you could use to tell whether or not somebody understands crypto is whether or not they're calling for regulation. Because regulation goes against the fundamental purpose of crypto. Because what is regulation? You are inviting a central authority to come into a space and say, you can do this, you can do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, right? And you might say, well, we need to protect people, right? But here's the thing. Look at what Sam Bankman-Fried was doing. He was trying to use the regulatory state to push out competition. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think it's capitalism, and when they look at even traditional finance today, capitalism is why this is like this. It's greed. No, it's not. It's because of government. It's because of the Federal Reserve. It's because of central banks, right? That is why we are in the situation we are here in America. Now, back to the question of whether or not people like Graham and Kevin O'Leary, and there's many others, are liable. Well, legally, I don't think they are. Right? Legally, I don't think they are. Morally, perhaps a little bit. A little bit. But I think this comes down to a bigger concern, and that is that when you consume crypto content, when you're looking for videos, not that you can't watch these people, but you need to have a fundamental understanding of the philosophical underpinnings of why crypto. Not, I want to make money. That's all secondary. And trust me, there's a lot of money to be made. But that's all secondary. You need to understand, at least at a rudimentary level, what interest rates do. What is going on with the central banks, right? A lot of people saying, well, the central bank, raising rates, is that, that's the problem, right? The Fed raising rates, that's not the problem. The problem is rates were set artificially low, right? Because rates are a price. Interest rates are a price. And so when the Federal Reserve controls that price and sets it too high or too low, what's occurring is a price control. Now, you could think back to the gas crisis in America, during the 70s. It's like a lot of people think high prices caused that. High prices didn't cause that. Price controls did, because prices were going up. The government came in and said, hey, we're not going to allow it to go up. And so what happened? You had shortages. How did you get rid of shortage? Or you had massive shortages, right? How do you get rid of that? Oh, we need to have rations. Then you have long lines. How many hours of productivity, people waiting in long lines, and they still don't have enough gas. And price controls, central planning doesn't work. So until you understand, at least on a basic level, Austrian School of Economics, interest rate manipulation, currency devaluation, and all these problems, why Keynesianism and modern monetary theory don't work, until you understand that at least on a base level, you should not be involved with crypto. Okay, I'm just going to say how it is, right? You should not, because you don't understand why crypto. You understand the what. You understand, oh, people get rich with this, but you don't understand the why, okay? Now, going back, I keep getting off topic. Going back to this, this idea of, are these people liable? Kevin O'Leary, right? It's a weird situation because these are people who don't understand why crypto. And I like Stephan, right? Stephan. I said Stephan. Stephan. I like him. I think he's a cool guy. He has good advice when it comes to real estate, but he's not a crypto guy. He's not an economics guy, right? I'm sure he has a base level understanding, right? But he's not a guy who's going to understand, why crypto, why it's on a philosophical level wrong to take your crypto and put it in the hands of a centralized exchange. Like the point is to be your own bank, right? And if you're going to use, crypto as a vehicle to search for yield, at least with DeFi, and don't get me wrong, there's things that go wrong with DeFi too. Nothing's perfect. But at least with DeFi, we're getting to the point where you could really see what's going on, right? FTX, you were in the dark. You had no idea where your crypto was going, how much leverage was in that system. Whereas with DeFi, you could have a better understanding, and I think that's going to keep improving. And that's why Sam Bankman-Fried tried to shut down DeFi, right? Hey, you don't have a right. It's your money, it's your crypto, but I don't think the government should allow you to put your money in this system, right? It just goes against the philosophical underpinnings. Now, I want to be very clear, even in this perfect world, if the government stays out of things, and there's still going to be problems, right? There's still going to be scams that come out and, things like that. And I'm not saying that it's a perfect solution to just keep the government out, right? But at least with this way, you're in charge, and there's no way for a central authority. Imagine what would have happened if FTX, if Sam Bankman-Fried was successful. What would have happened if Sam Bankman-Fried established a legal monopoly through regulatory capture for FTX, or close to a legal monopoly, right? Bad things. And you would have only had one or two choices, or maybe three choices for, a centralized exchange, which you shouldn't be using anyways, but that's besides the point. So I just want to say, these people, they're partially liable, right? They're partially liable. People like Graham and Kevin O'Leary, they are partially liable. But part of the problem is too many people look to people who didn't understand why crypto to get crypto advice. That's why Kevin O'Leary, right? He's calling now. He's saying we need the problem with FTX is there wasn't enough government regulation. That alone should disqualify him from speaking about this, because government regulation would not have prevented that. First off, they weren't, there was FTX US, but the normal FTX was not under US jurisdiction, right? Secondly, government regulation wouldn't have prevented that, because also, basically what FTX was doing was the same thing banks are doing, right? The only difference is when something like that happens with a bank, when there's a bank run, what occurs is the Federal Reserve comes in and bails them out as the lender of last resort. Now you might say, oh, so there's the solution, right? But no, because that bailout is not a free lunch. All that bailout does is take all that loss and it spreads it out through all of society, right? Versus it being localized to that one bank, right? Because that's all it does. If the government prints a ton of money to bail out a bank, or whether it's a direct bailout or indirect bailout, there's different consequences, but regardless, it's not a free lunch, right? That money, if you're printing that money, the value of that currency is going to be lost. Might not show up right away, but it will eventually show up, and it will eventually, on top of that, it will cause issues where, well, now every bank knows they could do that, right? If you could get bailed out, it's like if you knew personally, like you could gamble on football games and the government would bail you out if you lost, well, you're going to put as much money as you can into that. You're going to take as much risk as you can, because if you lose, you don't really lose. And that's the problem. People think that's capitalism. That's not capitalism. That's corporatism. That's government, and that's central banking, and that's Keynesianism. So final word, they are partially liable. I don't think they're fundamentally horrible people, right? I'm not going to sit here and moralize and, get your pitchforks up. They promoted a service that they shouldn't have promoted. They should apologize, and people need to be smarter with their money. And not that there's blame on customers, I'm not saying that, but you know, this is going to set back crypto in many ways. But I think long term, this is going to be a boost to DeFi and a boost to people realizing you can't trust other people with your money. Instead, you should trust math. You should trust, you know, DeFi. Or if you don't want to be involved in that at all, just trust yourself. Just hold it. You don't need to go searching for yield if you're just trying to preserve wealth and just trying to get, you know, decent gains. I mean, if you buy Bitcoin now and it goes from 15K to 100K, you know what? Who cares if you missed out on a 5-6% interest yield on a service? Who cares, right? At the end of the day, this is a big setback, but I think over the next few years, crypto will begin to recover. It's going to be tough. I've been through many crypto bear markets, many crypto bull markets, but I'll have more content out on this in the future. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like. Also, if you want, here's a service that's not bad. If you want to earn a little extra money doing paid surveys, right? Paid surveys, nothing crypto related. Click the link in the description to my Inbox Dollars referral link. You will get, I think you get a free $5 off the bat, and you could do surveys and earn a little extra money. So check that out. I'll catch you next time and have a great day.